Good morning, everyone. Today, it's time for another morning Bible study. I'm your host, Logan McCulley, and today we're getting into Proverbs 18. But first, like I always like to do, let's talk about what's been going on lately. So, I am a Boy Scout leader now. We just went to the first merit badge college that I've ever been to as an adult leader. I got to take Levi. It was down at Delta State University, and I'm going to tell you what. It was one of the coolest, best run merit badge colleges I've ever been a part of. There was plenty of good classes, plenty of space for all of the adult leaders to go and do and hang out. Basically, we drove down there Friday night. We stayed in a church. We stayed in the basement. Let me phrase that. The boys stayed in the basement. The adults went up to the second and the third floor, and I found me a closet to sleep in. Yep, I slept in a closet. I got right next to the church robes, laid out my sleeping pad, and went right to sleep. It was awesome. It was actually kind of funny because, as young men, they're still learning like all this leadership and how to be a part of a team and what to do and what not to do. One of the cool things, well, I guess not cool, is that someone went into the church's kitchen and got a whole box of cereal and ate it all. And they found the evidence. Well, the scoutmaster, Mickey, he's an awesome guy. I'm pretty fond of him. He saw the evidence. And then he was like, uh-oh, someone's in trouble. One of y'all better fess up right now. Nobody fessed up. Nobody fessed up. He says, look, if nobody fesses up, y'all are all going to bed early. And I got to see, like, the fear in some of the kids' eyes. I didn't actually see Levi, but I got to see some of the other kids, like, running around trying to figure out who did it. And it was so cool to see these kids being, it's going to sound weird, so cool to see these kids scared to get in trouble over the cereal box. Because I'm used to working in, like, inner city. I'm used to seeing, like, people robbing people, carjacking, shooting, stabbings. But these kids were afraid that they're going to have to go to bed early because someone ate the cereal. And that was so bad. That was so bad to them. It was just like the worst thing that could have happened if someone ate that cereal. And I could see it in their eyes that they really, really cared. I mean, I don't know about y'all or what you do for a living, but seeing that made my heart feel something. It was just so cool because, like, talk about low stakes trouble. Oh no, we go buy another box of cereal. Who cares? Like, I mean, realistically, in the grand scheme of things, what does that matter? Nothing. The principle matters. The principle does matter, okay? And that's what the standard was held to. But, like, low stakes, and it was so nice to be able to spend that time. I actually got to have a very cool conversation with a teenager. And now, this is what's weird. You want to talk about the Holy Spirit doing something? So, that happened Friday night. Got up, went to the Merit Badge College. I help Levi and his group of boys get to where they're going. Make sure they get there, and then you're kind of like, bye. Like, I'm not going to sit there in the merit badge class with them. That's just not me. But I'm going to make sure they're there, make sure they feel comfortable and safe, make sure I know where they're at. I'll see you at lunch. You know where the lunch is? I'll see you at lunch. Well, anyways, did that, came back to lunch. Lunch was awesome. They literally took over the cafeteria at the university and served, like, no vegetables. So, like, pizza, chicken tenders, fries, cookies, ice cream. Like, it was awesome. Then, and before lunch, I went to the flea market, went and had coffee, hung out with the rest of the adult leaders. It was cool. It was like a good experience. Well, then, after lunch, make sure they get to their classes. Now I'm kind of making sure everyone that was in our car, though, I know where everyone is in our car because I got to grab these little jokers so we can leave when it's time to go. So I know where they're all at. I'm going to swing by there right before it's time to get out of class, make sure they know the plan so we're not wasting time and no one goes off anywhere. Well, that's what I do. I go around and I actually wrote a note and I said, hey, make sure all of y'all handed it out. Make sure all of y'all meet us where we checked in. We're going to be hanging out over there. Well, that's where I went. I went and sat down. I'm going to be honest with you. This is where the Holy Spirit kind of comes in. I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling talking to people. And normally I'm sociable guy. I like to hang out and talk and see what's going on. But that's not what I was feeling. I was just feeling, I don't know. I didn't know if my blood sugar was low, so I ate a snack, and that wasn't it. I didn't know if I was just tired. I didn't know what was going on. But I just kind of sat there, and like literally I'm sitting at the table, and I can see all my people over there hanging out and talking. But I don't have the feeling to go over there. It's weird, right? Like, that's not me. My sugar's not low. Like, I'm just not feeling it. Well, I mean, I kind of played on my phone, looked at my phone, didn't look at my phone, looked at my phone, didn't look at my phone. It was kind of like, maybe I should get up and go over there and talk. I don't know. I don't really feel it. Well, then, this teenager I met the night before at the church, that's a part of the troop, came over and just sat down in front of me. And I was like, hello, James. I'll just say, James. You don't know who James is. Hello, James. How are you? He goes, good. I was like, well, how are your classes? He goes, they were pretty awesome. Now, let me tell you, when I met him the night before, he's like, I'd say about 15, 16, maybe 14, 15, 16, probably 15. And I said, hey, what rank are you? Like, my name's Mr. McCulley. I'm with the troop. Nice to meet you. He goes, I'm James. What rank are you? Like, where are you in this scouting adventure? He goes, well, I'm a scout. And I'm like, scout? How long you been in scouting? He goes, a year or two. Generally, you should move through the first, 3 ranks or 4 ranks pretty darn quick. Like, in the first 6 months, you should be at that first class. So I said, oh, scout. Moving pretty slow, aren't we? He goes, yeah, I'm just here for fun. I'm like, that's cool, man. That's cool. Any exposure is good exposure to scouting. I truly believe that. Just like getting the gospel out there is good exposure. No matter how it comes, okay? Like, you have to put it out there. So he's sitting down. Now, so I was kind of like a little rough to him. Like, oh, nice to meet you. I kind of called him out on his mess, but I don't really know him. So he sits down in front of me. And I'm like, hello, James. How's your classes? They're pretty good. Okay, cool. I go, I can't remember how this came up. I have no idea how this came up. And what I said, I used to ask young men like yourself, what do you want to do for a living when you get older? And you go, but now I ask, what kind of person do you want to be when you get older? And he goes, well, why do you ask that? I said, well, I'll be honest with you. I've been an EMT. I've been a nurse. I'm in nurse practitioner school. I've been a janitor. I've been a kitchen manager. I've been a lawn and landscape guy. I did some HVAC work. I've done a lot of different things. But do you know what changed my life? It wasn't what I was doing. It was Jesus. And if I can ask that question and instill that into somebody so that they understand what makes the difference, that's what I should be doing. And he goes, interesting. I go, and I'll be honest with you, James, I'm a new Christian. I've only been a Christian for about a year. I was what you would call a cultural Christian, where I knew the name of Jesus and I knew how to go to church and what they do in churches. I had a Bible, but I never read it. I just didn't know. And I've been very blessed with my wife and my stepson, and I've got things that I don't deserve. I really do not. I don't want to be the person that doesn't share that with someone else. And he was like, well, I go to church. I was like, oh, where do you go to church? He goes, like New Hope or something. I don't know. There's so many churches around here. I was like, oh, okay. Do you read your Bible? He goes, yeah. I didn't know we were staying in a church. I brought my Bible down here. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about, James. What are you reading? And he told me a little about his Bible study and stuff, and we got into it a little bit. And it was so cool to be able to make that connection with this dude that I have no idea what he's going through. I don't know his home life. I don't know what's going on. That was not me. That was not me. There was no reason why I was in that perfect position at the perfect time for him to come sit down. My wife would completely say, that's not Logan. But it happened perfectly where he came up. I was able to have that conversation. I spend so much time worrying about how to talk to people. But the Bible clearly says, don't think ahead. You'll have the words when you need them. I wish I knew the verses, but that's okay. And it happened just like that. It happened just like that. It was such a great experience. And thank you, Lord, for letting that come to pass. All right, let's hop right into Proverbs 18. Verse 1. A man who isolates himself seeks his own desire. He rages against all wise judgment. This man seeks selfish gratification and accepts advice from no one. Man, I know some of those people. A man who isolates himself seeks his own desire. He rages against all wise judgment. Verse number 2. A fool has no delight in understanding, but in expressing his own heart. This fool we're saying, has no delight in understanding wisdom, God, other things, but he has delight in expressing his own heart. There is a breakdown, Ecclesiastes in 10. So the verse that the breakdown for this comes from is Ecclesiastes 10. What are we at? 10, 10? 10, 12 through 14. And the verse is, a serpent may bite when it is not charmed. The babbler is no different. The words of a wise man's mouth are gracious, but the lips of a fool shall swallow him up. The words of his mouth begin with foolishness, and the end of his talk is raving madness. A fool also multiplies words. No man knows what is to be. Who can tell him what will be after him? The breakdown for those is words. Man demonstrates wisdom in words as well as works. Foolish words yields unfavorable outcomes. Oh, man. Think about what we just said there. Man demonstrates wisdom in words as well as works. What you say matters. Man, what you say matters. What you do matters. All of it matters. Do it all for the Lord. And that's what we're saying here. Verse 3. When the wicked comes, this is now Proverbs 18:3. When the wicked comes, contempt comes also, and with dishonor comes reproach. Sin and punishment are inseparably connected, as evil produces both the feeling of contempt and others, and its manifestation is reproach. Sin and punishment, you cannot separate the two. So just boom, pop, right there. So if the Bible identifies it as a sin, you cannot separate sin and then the punishment that follows sin. Okay? Just follow my thought process here. So you know that's coming. That should carry weight on how you look at sin. Like, it should change a little bit how you look at sin. Like, I'm not the best. I've never said I'm the best. I'm just not the best about, like, looking at a sin and be like, oh, that comes with this punishment, right? Like, ding, ding, ding. But that should hold weight in your brain, my brain, because evil produces both the feeling of content in others, and its manifestation is reproach. As I'm doing evil, if I do evil, it will produce the feeling of content in others, and then that will manifest reproach upon me. 18:4. The words of a man's mouth are deep waters. The wellspring of wisdom is a flowing brook. The words of a man's mouth are deep waters. The wellspring of wisdom is a flowing brook. The breakdown. Wise speech is like deep, inexhaustible stream of blessing. I hear that and I go, man, my brother Terry at church is that guy. Like, he is so full of wisdom. Like, my pastor's so full of wisdom. There's people that I'm in Sunday school that are so full of wisdom. They know the Bible so well. Like, talk about your white rabbit that you're trying to catch up to, that you want to be like. Like, those people are that wellspring of knowledge. They got deep waters in their words. Maybe one day. 18:5. It is not good to show partiality to the wicked, or to overthrow the righteous in judgment. So don't show partiality to the wicked, or overthrow righteous in judgment. So it's saying don't show unfair bias in favor of a, what did they say exactly? Wicked, to the wicked, or overthrow the righteous in judgment. So don't give favor to the wicked. Don't, I guess you would convict an innocent person. Don't take the side of the wrong person in judgment. Verse 6. A fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calls for blows. The fool, I hear blows, and I'm like, oh, pop that joker right there. Like, shouldn't want to do that, but like, pop that joker right on the mouth. The fool self-destructs. That is the breakdown. The fool self-destructs, and that's actually the breakdown for 7 as well. So let's read 6 and 7 as a unit. Starting in 6 again. A fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calls for blows. A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. Don't we all know someone that's like that fool? Like that is the fool that you can see, that's just talking and saying and just digging that hole deeper, digging that hole deeper, digging the hole deeper. Don't do it. Verse 8. The words of a table bearer are like tasty trifles, and they go down into the inmost body. This comes from a Hebrew word meaning to swallow greedily. The proverb is repeated later in Proverbs in 26:22. So the words of the table bearer are like tasty trifles, to swallow greedily, and they go down into the inmost body. Verse 9. He who is slothful in his work is a brother to him who is a great destroyer. Oh. He who is slothful in his work, so the person that's lazy, the person that doesn't do what they need to do, he who is slothful in his work is a brother to him who is a great destroyer. Who is a great destroyer? To leave a work half done or poorly done is to destroy it. Man, that's calling me out. Like, sometimes I don't like my job, and I'm like, why do I put up with this mess? Why am I going to sit here and kill myself for this job? That sucks. Like, sometimes that's how I feel. And you know what? I suck. That is not right. I shouldn't be doing that. Ding, ding, ding. That's going to be our Bible verse for today. That is our Bible verse. Verse 10 and 11. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteousness run to it and are safe. The rich man's wealth is his strong city, and like a high wall in his own esteem. Let's break that down. Verse 10, the name of the Lord. This expression, found only here in Proverbs, stands for the manifest perfections of God, such as faithfulness, power, mercy, and wisdom, on which the righteousness rely for security. I gotta read that again. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteousness run to it and are safe. That's a promise from God right there. The righteous run to it and are safe. You are safe if you run to the name of the Lord. Yes. And then 11, the rich man's wealth is his strong city. Not the name of the Lord. Okay? Not the name of the Lord. And like a high wall in his own esteem. Now, the breakdown. This proverb repeats 10:15 and is contrasted with the verse before it. So, the rich people. This is why it's so hard for rich people to get to heaven, right? Because you have so much, it's hard to see past that, work your brain past that. I don't know what the right verbiage is, but you know what I'm saying. Verse 12. Before destruction, the heart of man is haughty, and before honor is humility. Before the destruction, our heart is going to be like haughty. Ha 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 ha. I'm better. And before honor is the humility. Verse 13. He who answers... No, let's go back actually. That humility... I'm trying to think of like the situation and how I've been humiliated. Think about like a time like you were in class, or like you were like, oh, like this is how you do it. And then you were showed that you were so wrong, so wrong. It was embarrassing. That's kind of the emotion I think we're capturing there. I don't know, but that's what I think. Verse 13. He who answers a matter before he hears it is folly and shame to him. He who answers a matter before he hears it, it is folly and shame to him. I hear that, I go, hear all matters thoroughly. Investigate thoroughly, hear all sides thoroughly. Don't be folly and shame. To do that, I have to hear everything about it. Know everything about it that I can. Verse 14. The spirit of man will sustain him in sickness. But who can bear a broken spirit? Oh, isn't that the truth? Think about these people who like have gone through like 8 rounds of chemo, and they're so strong in spirit, they're so strong in their faith, and they're just standing tall, standing strong. Then you've got the opposite person who gets a hangnail and they're just broken up about it, or like their boyfriend dumps them, whatever, and they're just a pile of mush. Think about how strong that spirit will hold you up. Your body will fail eventually. Like, that is what we are all guaranteed. This body will fail. We're going to die. If you know Jesus, you're going to heaven. So having that in you, knowing you're saved, is such a big deal. If you don't know you're saved, all you have to do is know Jesus. That's it. Accept Jesus. He paid that price for us. He's already done it. You don't have to do anything. You can't do anything. Just it's a gift. It's a gift for you. I wish I had like a hotline for you to call, but just know, we've gone through the Roman roads. Just know Jesus. Just know Jesus, and if you have questions, like, reach out to me. I'll be glad to help walk you through it, man. I really would. It's such an important thing. Verse 15. The heart of the prudent acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. Verse 16. A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Breakdown. This is not the word for bribe. The man's gift is not the word for bribe, but rather the word for a present given to someone. Jacob's gift in Genesis, Joseph's gift in Genesis 43:11, David's gift in 1 Samuel 17:17, and Abigail's gift in 1 Samuel 25:27. So let's reread that. A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Your gift will make room for you at the table, will make room for you in the room, and brings you before great men. What is your gift? That's a good question for all of this, especially me. What is my gift? Is it talking to people? Is it, I don't know what my gift is, honestly. Verse 17. The first one to plead his cause seems right until his neighbor comes and examines him. So now I feel like this is the counterpart to the one, verse 13, who says, he who answers matter before he hears it, it is folly to shame him, and shame to him. You have to hear all sides before you can know the matter truly. So this is like the second step to that first verse. The breakdown is a cross-examination avoids hasty judgment. Hasty judgment brings folly and shame to us. Verse 18. Casting lots causes contentions to cease and keeps the mighty apart. We've already talked about lots in 16:33. Let's go touch on it again. That is the last verse of 16, actually, and it says, the lot is cast into the lap, but its every decision is from the Lord. Letting the Lord decide keeps contention down, keeps contention away. You can't be in contention about what the Lord chooses. You shouldn't, but there are people who suck, though, so sometimes that's where my brain goes. But in the church, casting lots keeps contentions to cease and keeps the mighty apart. Verse 19. A brother offended is harder to win than a strong city, and contentions are like bars of a castle. Let's read the breakdown. There are no feuds as difficult to resolve as those with relatives. No barriers are so hard to bring down. Hence, a great care should be taken to avoid such conflicts. Bars of a castle. That was the other thing that was what it was about, was bars of the castle. Oh man, if I don't know that that's the truth, then I am not a Christian, because I've had that issue with one of my brothers before, and it's still an issue today, because it is so hard to bridge that gap from way back then. It is so hard to build back up that relationship after everything that was done. It is nigh on impossible. It really is. And I don't know. I've prayed, I've reached out, I've done everything I'm supposed to do, and all I can do is just leave it up to the Lord. If it will be, it will be. That's all I got. Now, I will say there's been this idea that I've been playing with, we talked about last time about why it's important to not offend even people who I would consider crazy, way out there, like people that want to talk about genders like you can change them. Having that verbiage to have an open dialect with them, I think, is important because, as you can see here, even if you offend them, it is harder to win than a strong city. That is why I think that's important, and this is a great Bible verse to help remind me that is why I need to keep going down that rabbit hole. Verse 20. A man's stomach shall be satisfied from the fruit of his mouth. From the produce of his lips he shall be filled. The consequences of one's words should produce satisfaction and fulfillment. You reap what you will sow, and you will eat what you produce. Specifically here, with your lips. Verse 21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. The greatest good and greatest harm are in the power of the tongue. What a theme that we've kind of gotten in here to Proverbs about how important it is in what you say and how you conduct yourself. Words and acts, words and works are just as important. And like, it kind of calls me to shame about like how I was in my younger years, especially BC. Like, no reason to act like the way I did. I am better. I need to still be better. Sometimes like there's like this like knee-jerk reaction just to like all right, let's burn it, let's do it, come on, let's go, like let's end this, instead of taking the time to address the situation appropriately. I can be better. I need to be better, especially when I set that example for Levi and for others. Verse 22. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. Ain't that the truth, man? And I like that's one of the reasons why I'm like, hey Caleb, like, let me get you a lady. Like, you need a lady in your life. Like, it completes you. Like, there's reasons why God made man and woman. Like, come on, man, come on. And I'm very blessed to have Jennifer. I don't deserve her. I didn't earn her. Like, she's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Best thing since sliced bread. She keeps me humble. She's smart. She's amazing. She's pretty. She's funny. Like, oh my gosh, is she funny? She knows me so well. I'm very blessed. And Jennifer, you're never going to listen to this. Let's be 100% real. You're not going to listen to this, especially in the 30-minute mark. I love you. You're my lady. If you do hear it. Verse 23. The poor man uses entreaties, but the rich man answers roughly. The rich do not need favors from others, so they do not care how they treat people. I mean, that's pretty true. Like, favors, man, make the world go round, especially for a dude like me. I need help. The rich man doesn't have to worry about that because they can just pay for the favor. They can make it happen. I ain't got that, man. Like, that is not how my money works. I wish sometimes that's how my money works, and I think most people would say that. But does it make you a better person? Is it worth it if you were to win the lottery? If you play the lottery, is it worth it to win? Will it improve your life or make it worse? These are questions I have for the lottery. Because, like, my brother Caleb likes to play the lottery. And he's got like a whole thing about how it's going to go down. And I don't know. I don't know if that would be good for us. Good for him, good for me, good for our family. But the important thing here is to treat people well and treat people fairly. Especially if you are a rich man. Because like the Bible speaks rough on rich people. But there's nothing inherently wrong with being rich. It's to make sure you don't fall into those entrapments of being rich, going like, I don't need you. Like, don't have that thought, like, I don't need to deal with you. You do. Verse 24. A man who has friends must himself be friendly, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. The best text says, may come to ruin, and warns that the person who makes friends too easily and indiscriminately does so to his own destruction. On the other hand, a friend chosen wisely is more loyal than a brother. This friend, this is a strong word meaning one who loves and was used of Abraham, God's friend. Choose your friends closely. Don't make them indiscriminately. I mean, sometimes I've had that conversation with people at work and at other places. They'll be like, "Hey, let's be friends. Like, you want to go do X, Y, Z?" And I'll be like, honestly, I don't have time to have another friend. I know that sounds bad. I'm not being unfriendly, but I'm just saying, if I don't get to see my brother as much as I want to, I don't get to spend enough time with my wife as much as I want to, I do not have time to make friends, to be like, go play bowling, or like when I drink, go have a beer with you. I don't have time for that. I need to put my time and my effort into the people in my life that I really, really care about that will be there at my deathbed. You know what I'm saying? So I hear a man who makes too many friends too easily, a man who has friends must himself be friendly. The person that has all those friends, I'm weary because who's going to be there in the end, you know? Like, it's nice to have friends. You need to have friends. The Bible even says that right here. It says you need to have friends. But I'm just weary of making too many friends. But if you pick a friend correctly, there is a friend out there who will stick closer than a brother. I got 2 of those. Maybe 3. I'll say 3. That's the last verse in Proverbs 18. Find a friend that's closer than a brother. Cultivate that relationship. And that's it for me. I am doing a yearly Bible study. I'm just got the little Bible app. I'm listening to my Bible every day. I'd highly recommend it for you as well. It's a great thing to do on your ride in or when you're working out or whatever. It takes about 20 minutes. I have a little notepad that I write down daily things that I need to do. And I put on there DBS, Daily Bible Study, and then pray to make sure I remember. I need to make sure that I stay in prayer and stay in that daily Bible study. Do you need to do that? No. But like, I do need that level of accountability for a little bit of a reminder. I don't like my phone to remind me things. I'm weird about that. I don't want my phone to tell me to ever do anything. Okay? But I like to write it down so I do have a reminder. I'm weird about that. That's just my thing. I'll have to show you my notepad next time. That's it, guys. Thank you for joining me here in this Bible study. And I will see you next time here on the Morning Bible Study with your host, Logan McCulley. Keep your corn on the cob.